Character traits, I don't know.
She's been on phenomenal form all year.
It's her boy, she's brought her dog. I'm not sure if I can show you the dog.
Oh gosh, I think it was 30.
He is the most incredible horse.
Yes, but what do you mean? That's why you're here. That was that. Wow. Good job.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the first episode of the Luhmühlen Lates here at the Longines Luhmühlen International Horse Trials. The 4- and 5-star dressage has been going on over the last 2 days and we've seen some amazing tests. A bit of noise going on behind us. The ponies are here. They've been jumping in the main arena. Lucinda Green judged them last year and I'm thrilled to say that she is alongside me here today. Lucinda, we've had 2 days of dressage. We've seen the 4-star incorporating the German National Championship. An amazing performance by Julia Krajewski, who leads that charge with Clark Johnson in second for New Zealand. But it's been 2 days of really good dressage.
It's been really interesting. I think the 5-star dressage is a very difficult test, and we've got quite a lot of first-time 5-star horses who have found it very difficult. And then we've had a few that know their stuff and make the movements that I'm going, oh, I think this is so mean on the horses, make the movements actually look beautiful. And that's the difference between an early 5-star comer and one that's been at it for some time. But I agree with you about the 4-star. That was also full of a variation of horses, and I think we finished up the day thinking, is there ever more than one horse that looks like this? You don't see 2 or 3 horses looking the same. Every single horse is a different type. It's fascinating.
Yeah, really impressive. We go to the 5-star and it was just spectacular to watch. It really was. And the last 3 to go, we had Laura Collett with London 52, the 2023 winner.
Yeah, absolutely chuffed with him. He's the absolute dream horse. Just to get on him and go and enjoy myself. He was quite on edge. He was definitely wanting to show off a little bit more than was necessary today. Wanted to flick his toes and show everyone what he could, all his fancy moves. But he knuckles down when a movement comes up where he has to listen. So he's changed so much over the years, and now it's just an absolute pleasure to go in and trust him and let everyone enjoy him as much as I do, really.
But listen, we have to do, Lucinda, a ride of the day.
I know, hate it. Hate it only because when those first 6 flashed up on the board, I thought every single one of those people deserves the ride of the day.
Yeah.
And how in earth are we going to choose between one and the other?
Yeah. So eventually we did have a little bit of a discussion, and we came up with our ride of the day, and that was?
Well, we each came up with slightly different ones, and then we decided to concur because we feel that Isolot is such a difficult horse, and so Roz, you get ride of the day.
Yeah, Roz, I mean, an amazing test. And if we go back and just think about and watch your test, I mean, he really was on the button. You had him in focus. You had his attention. It was beautiful to watch.
Thank you very much. Well, it's a lot, we know each other very well now, and one of his amazing traits is actually very chilled out. He's not chilled out, but he's a quiet horse. He's a placid horse by nature. So he's not a horse that's going to go in there and get tense and blow up. He'd like to be quiet. He's just got a real flight instinct. And if he sees something he doesn't like, he travels away from it at quite a sharp speed.
Yeah.
So that's always a slight issue. It's weighing up how much work we need to do to make sure that doesn't happen without making him too tired and flat, because he's obviously got the most amazing movement. And then the other thing that's slightly difficult about Isolot is his shape. He's got quite a long neck, and where I would choose to have it and it feels right for me is always too overbent.
Too overbent, yeah.
So I very much rely on the people I trust in the warm-up to say yes or no. And often when they say yes, I think, oh no, I'd love to ride him a little bit differently, because he feels quite a long way away from me, and sometimes a little bit more rigid than I would actually like to have him. So sometimes I definitely with him have to go with what looks nice rather than what feels nice on the day.
Interesting you should say that, because Gareth Hughes, a wonderful British dressage rider, said to us the other day, something, when you train in one way, but you've also got to train for it to look right, and that doesn't look right even though it feels right, and I think you're saying exactly that.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. I can make. To me, I can have Isaac feeling absolutely beautiful, like a horse I've never sat on. He's got an ability to passage and to do all those things that most event horses would never be able to do, but often when it feels amazing, it isn't quite what the judges might want to see. So,
do you think this is a fashion? Do you think that the time will come when what you feel is right will also be judged to be right?
I don't know. I think it's so hard, isn't it? Because, like you said, every horse is so different, and there are plenty of horses that event horses you physically couldn't make go into the shape that Isaac chooses to naturally go in, and that is the challenge, isn't it? We've got to go in there and produce what the judge wants to see, and they haven't had the opportunity to see them in training and to know what the horse is like, and to see the horse, just stand up on what his natural conformation is.
Yeah.
So I think that's the challenge in our sport always.
We go for those clear rounds in the dressage. It looked pretty mistake-free. How did you feel it went?
Yeah, I was delighted with that. I felt that, that things like the changes and things were all on the mark. Earlier in the day, actually, I struggled a little bit with my changes across the diagonal because he's so talented. Me just thinking flying change and he'll rev up to do it. So I had to kind of, it was a little bit like cross-country riding. I had to pick a point and ride to the point and keep my eyes up, because the moment I darted, Isaac was like, I'll give it to you. So that was about a bit of patience today. But yeah, it all came off on the day, which was great.
Well, you say about seeing a spot on the cross-country. The cross-country, Mike Etherington-Smith has built, we think, one of the best tracks here at Luhmühlen in many years. It's tough out there. There's a lot of intense parts of the track. When we walked it, and when I know that riders have wheeled it, they're struggling to find their minute markers. He's wheeled it really tight. It's not going to be a dressage competition.
No, absolutely not. I think my 11-minute marker went off just after the ditch brush, which was probably
30 seconds before the finish.
30 seconds before the finish,
Wow.
and I'd already moved them up a little bit.
Yeah.
And the time is 11:04, isn't
11:02,
it? So
11:02.
yes, okay.
Yeah.
So the brush is some way from the finish, and it says 11 there. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think it will be very tricky, because I think we might be led into mistakes by the feeling of pressure from the speed that we have
trying
to
to
travel
cut the corner and catch the time.
And I think that's where you're just going to have to ride the horse that you're on, and I think it will tire some horses mentally as well, because there's quite a lot of turning back on yourself and things like that. So yeah, I think each individual fence is jumpable, but putting it all together, I think it's going to feel like a short format, but for 11 minutes, and not only for the horse to stay mentally and physically on the ball, but we have to as well, which I think will be quite a challenge.
And it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because with speed comes mistakes sometimes, and although you guys are so used to galloping Isolot and you used to galloping cross country, but the pressure will be on a little bit. I mean, you're going out there to do your very best, and we hope that it's all going to go well, but you're going to be chasing that optimum time.
Absolutely. I think, I'm looking forward to getting out on MHS 17 early, because he's a nippy little fellow, and he's very careful at his jumps and things, so he draws back naturally, and he'll be quite an easy horse, I think, to twist and turn. I think Isolot will find it harder. We just talked about his neck and his conformation. That length is fantastic on a cross-country course, but equally it can be quite challenging.
But you have the opportunity to bring him together, which you don't have so much to shorten his neck in the dressage, because it won't look right. Cross-country, it doesn't matter what he looks like. Will you be able to
It doesn't
hold him
matter,
together?
But once he's got long, he does struggle,
hard
I
to
think,
get short.
to bring short. And sometimes I think the neck comes short and the legs keep travelling, and that's what. So I sometimes feel with him that I start off on lovely open distances, and the further round I get, I start to feel like I'm getting closer to the takeoff spot, and that just, because he's such a good jumper, he jumps really well, but he lands a bit slower because of it. So I'm trying to work out how I can change my riding to benefit him a bit more.
Is there any one fence out there that sticks in your mind as a problematic fence, or is it just a culmination of fences one after the other?
I think it's a culmination. I think, the main water is obviously going to be challenging, and I think it's a bit different from having the other way around, where, because you've got to almost ride into the crowds to turn off them, and I think that could be quite challenging and spooky for them. Whereas the other way round, the crowds are there, but they're quite away from the horses. So I think that would be the biggest challenge. And then I think there's little things like the railed corners near the end where, you know, as riders we get near the end of the course and you want to get to the next fence, and it was so tempting there to again hit it on 2.5 when you've got to be patient to stay out on 3, and all those little things. There's just many places to make a mistake.
And the ground looks absolutely perfect out there. I mean, walking it, Lucinda and I walked yesterday, it feels really good underfoot.
Yes, I think so, and I think they've done the the ground analysis, and it's come back pretty good in most places. So
Nick Lucy's done that,
yeah. So I think we'll certainly, that won't really be in my mind when we get out there. It's all about cracking on, hopefully.
And then, do you have? I mean, you've got MHS 17 going first on the cross country. You said he's nippy. He can turn and do all those tight turns, and there's a lot of turns out there. Is it going to be advantageous for you to get a really good feel of the course?
For sure, I think so. It's always good to get out there, and it's probably good for the nerves to get out there fairly early in the morning as well. There's not too much hanging around. And I absolutely love riding MHS 17. He fills me with confidence. For sure, he's going to be inexperienced tomorrow, and there are times where he might be green, but the bits that I sometimes struggle with confidence-wise, just running and jumping to a big table, he gives you that feeling. He draws back so nicely that he makes you want to ride fast. So I think he'll be a great one to have a go on to start with.
And he doesn't mind crowds because you'll get plenty of them tomorrow.
I don't think he will once he gets out. He's quite a nervous horse, actually, particularly in the dressage and things when he's bunched up. But once he gets galloping, it's normally when he's at his most relaxed. So I hope that once he gets out there, he'll be fine.
I'm loving what you said about Isolot. If you think about the change, he does it. And I think a lot of that comes in the cross country. If you can be thinking absolutely clearly about what you've got to do, the horses pick it up.
Yes, and with Isolot, if I preempt a spook, he probably will spook.
He probably
Yeah.
You suggested it. Yes.
Yeah, so I've got to try and imagine that there's nothing there for him to spook at. And if he looks, that's fine. I think Liz has got one that's a little bit the same, hasn't she?
Absolutely, but how very interesting you say
he's actually
that.
desperate to jump the jumps, is a lot.
Yes.
He's extremely genuine. He only wouldn't jump a jump if his mind has been taken by something else and he hasn't seen it. If he's
what
seen
happened
it,
at
he'll
Burley
jump it.
when that problem
flower
with the coffin?
pot.
What suddenly saw it in that second that he should have been concentrating on the fence?
So then he spooked off his line, and then he saw the angle late, and he'd taken himself to make the angle extreme.
And that was a little bit
And I
reminiscent
thought
of
he
the
was going to
lobster
spook
pot
at the stones on the other side.
Yeah.
So to be quite honest, I think if things like that happen, there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. And I think the more I try and stop it happening, the more likely it is to happen.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
he either has his day or he doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm very relaxed about that now. I think I'm proud of how I've trained him. I'm proud of the horse he's become, and I think there will be great days with him and days where it doesn't quite go to plan, and I'm not going to change my system because of it.
Yeah.
Dead right.
Well, we have a little prize for you for the ride of the day. Thank you very, very much, Ros, and the very best of luck with your 2 rides tomorrow.
Thank you very
Ros
much.
Cantor,
drink this.
their ride of the day.
Don't drink it before you go cross country.
I
Or
won't.
maybe it's
Maybe I'll
Lancer.
go a bit faster.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you very much.
Well, it has been 50 years since Lucinda won her European Championship
How
title.
old are you, Ross?
39.
There you are, you see.
Okay. Wasn't even born.
Twinkle in her brown eye.
But 50 years since Lucinda Green won the European title here back in 1975. And it is celebrating 50 years. Lucinda, congratulations. 50 years,
wonderful.
half a century.
I love it. Some kind fan wrote on Facebook, do you realise it's half a century since you won the Europeans? I said, oh, thank you. But I tell you, I am the lucky one because I am so healthy and I just love watching these journeys.
It
Brilliant.
really is fascinating, and we're going to follow that through to the cross country tomorrow. And we are live here on H&C Plus at 8:30 for a little bit of a build-up. The 5-star cross country go first. They're on the cross country at 8:45 tomorrow morning, and then we'll be back on air following the conclusion of the 5-star with the 4-star, including the German National Championship, and that's at 1:15. We'll be on air about 1:05. So we hope you can join us then. For now, from Lucinda, from Ros, myself and the whole team, thanks for watching. First episode of Luhmühlen Lakes. We'll see you tomorrow for round 2.
Character traits, I don't know.
She's been on phenomenal form all year.
It's her voice. She's brought her dog. I'm not sure we can show you the dog.
horse. What do you mean? That's why you're here. Wow.